Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're here to talk about the most optimal rating for every attribute in NBA 2K22 Next Gen, aka what is the best budget or best value for every rating. So the best example of this in my opinion is the steal rating. I feel like anything below 90 does not perform anywhere near as good as what 90 does. I feel like even 89 doesn't even compare in the slightest to what 90 does. 90 unlocks Hall of Fame interceptor, stops you from getting stuns on your reach-in or passing lane attempts. It's just a threshold that you can reach. And then on the other end of things, I don't think you really see that much of a difference between 99 and 90 when it comes to the output you get from your build for putting those extra ratings in. So again, we're here to talk about the best budget and the best threshold that you want to reach for every rating. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to 1,000 likes. Alright, so up first, we're going to start in the finishing category. We're going to work our way down. So we're going to go from finishing to shooting to playmaking to defense. And then we'll talk about physicals to an extent. I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder to do physicals, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Anyway, as far as close shot goes, I feel like genuinely 75 is a really good threshold you can reach if you wanted to be cheap on it. And reasons for this, you can get grace under pressure at 74, and at 75 you get fast twitch on gold as well. So if you're not touching your standing dunk too high, and you're maybe a build that is like what the one we're on right here, a 6'8" or a 6'9", anything like that, an undersized big man, or you're maybe a point forward and you're someone who comes out here on twos, you ISO, close shot rating is a little bit more undervalued than I think some people give it credit for. Now on the other end of things, you could potentially be a super tall inside big man, you want elite interior scoring. With that, I think 93 close shot is by far the best threshold you can reach. Obviously 99 would be convenient, but we're here to budget as well. So again, I think 93 is really elite. It gives you Hall of Fame mouse in the house and grace under pressure, whereas if you were to go 2 ratings lower, you get it on gold. So honestly, I think it's a very good rate that you can make them at too. You can make super contested with this as well. Once again, combined with the height, it goes crazy. Like I said though, I think 75 close shot is a very good threshold to reach if you didn't want to invest super heavily in the close shot and still be able to make them very consistently and even still make them contested, to be honest. So next up we have driving layup, but really quickly I do want to explain there are 3 different factors that play very heavily into how I'm making this list. Number 1 is going to be the fact that some ratings are tied to certain badges being unlocked, like we mentioned with the close shot rating, as far as being tied to mouse to the house, fast twitch, grace under pressure, all types of stuff like that. With this one right here, 80 driving layup is going to give you silver fearless finisher. Now that's obviously solid, but it's not the driving force of why we want 80 driving layup. But like I said, sometimes that will factor in. I think the badge level caps are very important. Like for instance, things like speed with ball, we want the Hall of Fame quick first step. It's just going to pertain to a lot of those certain things. Anyway, the next one that we're talking about is going to be animations that it's tied to. So for instance, we have layup animations tied to the driving layup rating. We have contact dunks tied to driving dunks. So a lot of that stuff will play factors into how I'm ranking these. So like I said, 80 driving layup is going to give us silver fearless finisher. It also gives the jelly layup animation, which in my opinion is the best by far when it comes to getting you good spin layups or spin dunks, whatever the case may be, by double tapping your X button. Honestly, that is the one thing that I love about finishing, is to be able to do stuff like that. Now obviously there are a couple different things tied to certain layup animations. You got like Euro steps, hop layups, all types of stuff like that. I still think jelly is very good for all of those. I really do think though, for the spin, it's elite. And on top of that too, 80 driving layup does perform pretty well. So next up we have driving dunk. Now this one right here, I'm going to have 4 different thresholds that I'm going to talk about for the driving dunk rating. Now I'm not going to do this for everyone, I promise. I'm going to be a little bit more specific with the other ones like I did with the driving layup. There was only 1 example, and for close shot I had 2 examples. But for driving dunk, it's a very, very important and pivotal attribute rating, and it's very different in terms of what playstyle you are. Maybe you're an outside guard and you just want enough driving dunk rating to be able to dunk very quickly and consistently. With that, if you are an outside, I think 65 driving dunk is elite compared to anything below this. If you have 64, it's an absolute L. If you have 65, you dunk almost as manageably well as possible when it comes to open dunking. Quick drops off 1 is unlocked at 65, and it's by far the best dunk package in the game. Now on the topic of quick drops off 1, if you want the silver limitless takeoff to give you the best animations possible out of that dunk package, you're going to need 74 driving dunk. So that's going to be the next threshold that we talk about. I think this is the most least noticeable when it comes to the 4 that I'm talking about. When you go from 73 to 74 or from 65 to 74, it's not that big a jump, but it is nice to have the silver limitless takeoff. Now, this right here is a very, very big jump. Going to 84, so when you reach 83 driving dunk, it gives you the gold limitless takeoff, and then when you go to 84, it gives you the pro contact dunk packages. So like I said, a very big increase and a big jump from 74 to 84. And then we have the elite contact dunk packages unlocked at 92, as well as the fact that you get Hall of Fame limitless takeoff with gold posterizer once you hit 90 as well. And on top of that too, when you hit 91 driving dunk, you get Hall of Fame slithery finisher. So again, to go from anything of like 89 or below is pretty tough. It's not really worth it if you ask me. You may as well just have 84. But then when you hit 90, gold posterizer. 91, Hall of Fame slithery finisher. 92, elite contact dunks and the Hall of Fame limitless takeoff. Now after that, I don't think it's really worth it, to be honest. I mean, you don't gain any badge points at all at any point unless it's 99 driving dunk for Hall of Fame posterizer, which is good. I will say, myself as someone who has 2 builds with 99 driving dunk, I do like what Hall of Fame posterizer provides you in the sense of being a pure slasher, but at the end of the day, I think it's not that noticeable compared to 92. So this is where we're talking about the budgeting, not going above a certain threshold that really isn't necessary. And again, 92 is elite. Like, the difference between 89 and 92 is unreal. Like, you literally are missing out on so much if you have only 89 driving dunk. Not having the gold posterizer, not having Hall of Fame slithery, Hall of Fame limitless takeoff, elite contact dunk packages, the list goes on and on. Alright, so for standing dunk, I have 2 different levels. One is going to be for the very intermediate and just not really caring that much about getting standing dunks aspect of things. Or if you're an undersized big man, again, and you're really not looking for big man contact dunk packages, and you just want to be able to dunk the ball when you're open down below the basket. 45 standing dunk is going to give you 2 standing dunk packages, the very basic ones, which in my opinion are already the best regardless. It's all you really want in terms of not going super crazy on your standing dunk animations, but either way, 45 is definitely manageable, and it's really good in a good budget if you ask me. Now, in terms of if you want standing contact dunk packages or just a really consistent way of finishing, I think 90 standing dunk is what you want to shoot for. It's going to give you, once again, gold posterizer. Here's a look at the badges that standing dunk pertains to. So we have Rise Up, Lob City Finisher, Fast Twitch, Posterizer, and then a couple things like Unstrippable and Putback Boss. Now, you can see it's not strictly standing dunk. Like, Putback Boss is tied to 3 different things: driving dunk, standing dunk, close shot. The same thing goes for Unstrippable. It's tied to driving layup, driving dunk, standing dunk. Same thing with Lob City Finisher. It's tied to 2 different things. Fast Twitch, also tied to 2 different things. Posterizer, also tied to 2 different things. The only thing that standing dunk is strictly pertaining to is going to be Rise Up. Now, if you have this at a higher rating than other things, like for instance close shot or whatever the case may be, this is going to unlock Hall of Fame Fast Twitch at like 84 standing dunk. Once again, it's based on just pretty much like if I didn't have really high driving dunk and I wanted to have gold posterizer, then boom, I need to go to 90 just for that. So long story short, I think 90 is definitely a good threshold to reach if you're going for big man contact dunks, whatever the case may be. I think this is the really good elite level of finishing that you want. But if you do want to go like all the way through the roof, 99 is understandable if you're like an inside big. But honestly, I do think 90 is very manageable to be able to just settle for. And then for post control, this one's very iffy, so I don't really know where to settle for on this. A lot of this is just based on how reliable you can hold onto the ball in the post. I think 60s are really solid and manageable, but people will still poke you. I do think if you want to like never lose the ball in the post, you have to have this at a really high rating. And also, we know the badges that this is tied to: back down punisher, dream shake, drop stepper, post spin technician. I think 3 of these are really good. I don't know about dream shake so much unless you're going for like hook shots or something like that, or post fades, whatever the case may be. If you're looking to just bang out down low and just take advantage of smaller people being on you, obviously back down punisher and drop stepper are what you want to shoot for. So with 68, you get back down punisher on silver, and this will kind of be a thing for a lot of different builds out here, is where you get to this 68 rating is going to give you an extra badge point as well as back down punisher upgraded as well. So I think 68 is probably the good low attribute rating that we can shoot for, and then I think 81 is going to be the next one. So once again, this pertains to a lot of different builds. 81 is going to give you an extra badge point and Hall of Fame drop stepper. This is not strictly the 6'8 with 7'6 wingspan. I promise you guys, this is tied to a lot of different builds attribute ratings in terms of giving you that extra badge point, and again, the Hall of Fame drop stepper being unlocked. We could go for 85 on the Hall of Fame back down punisher, but honestly, I don't think it's worth. So again, here's a look at our finishing category. These are the highest thresholds I would definitely recommend in terms of the most valuable. Now, obviously, I've made a lot of different builds with higher than 80 driving layup, or again, I've made a lot with more than 92 driving dunk. I have a couple that have more than 93 close shot or 90 standing dunk. The list goes on and on. You can do whatever you want with your build, but I'm just recommending the best threshold that I think is the most valuable or the most optimal rating for every attribute. All right, so next up we have mid-range. So the absolute lowest that I'm going to recommend in terms of if you want to be a shooter build, or if you're someone who maybe has less than 80 3-pointer, is to have 80 mid-range. This gives you the Hall of Fame sniper. I think it's a very valuable badge when it comes to shooting the ball in this game. Now, if we're talking actually making mid-range shots, I think 84 is definitely something you want to shoot for. It's a very makeable rating. You get gold hot zone hunter off having the 83. For the 84, you get gold difficult shots. If you're someone who's coming out here on 2s and you want to just mid-range fade and stuff like that, I think 84 is very makeable. After that, the third threshold, and I'm not going to sit here and say this one's super important, but if you're a build that maybe can't get the 88 3-pointer and you want it to have these types of badges right here, which I don't really know how you'd ever be in that situation. You'd have to be a really small build that has a super long wingspan if that's the case. But anyway, if you wanted to be able to get the threshold for the blinders and mismatch expert at the same time, 88 is going to give you that. Compared to 86, you have them both on silver, and 88 is going to give you them both on gold. I think it's a pretty good threshold to hit, but we're going to call 84 pretty much the highest that I would vouch for in terms of meeting a good threshold that's super valuable. But again, if you're someone who's just shooting for more shooting badges, or you want to just be able to have a more reliable mid-range rating, I do understand that 100%. Alright, so really quickly, we're just going to lower the mid-range rating once again just to showcase what I'm talking about for the three-pointer. So again, I think it's very valuable to have anything between 80 mid-range or 80 three-pointer to have that Hall of Fame sniper. You definitely want that, and if your build can't get the 80 three-pointer, then once again, this is where I'm going to vouch for you maybe having the 80 mid-range instead. But if you can get this and you don't want to upgrade your mid-range and you want to just be a three-point sniper, you don't care about your mid-range rating at all, then I think 80 three-pointer is a very good attribute threshold to hit. After that, I think 88 is where you get to, again, you get the blinders, you get the mismatch expert, you get the deadeye, the list goes on and on. You get Hall of Fame corner specialist as well if you care for that, if you're a corner spot up. If you somehow have 88 three-pointer as a corner spot up though, pretty unrealistic, but it can happen to an extent. Anyway, after that, I will say, I think 99 is definitely something that you want to hit. This is going to be something that I don't do for any other attribute rating on this video. I really do think 99 three-pointer hits different, bro, than like 95 would. So once again, we'll just compare this between 94 and 99. So you get Hall of Fame stop and pop at 95. You get Chef at 96, which isn't that big a deal, but then you get Green Machine and Hot Zone Hunter at 97. This is more so just for Hot Zone Hunter. I don't think Green Machine's really a Hall of Fame badge that you really need to have either. But then you have Deadeye at 98, you have Blinders at 99. The list goes on and on. I mean, the difference between 94 and 99, you literally get 4 of the biggest shooting badges in the game on Hall of Fame. Blinders, Hot Zone Hunter, Stop and Pop, and Deadeye. All for just 5 attribute ratings. So I do think 99 is a good threshold that you want to hit for three-pointer if you're an outside guard. But again, I won't be doing that for any other attribute rating in the game. I just do think that that's a very valuable rating to hit when you're an outside guard. Anyway, for free throw, this is going to be something that I'll just pretty much come out here and say. If you're an inside big man, I think 70 is a very good rating to hit. It doesn't force you to upgrade any mid-range or anything like that. So we're just going to lower the mid-range rating in three-pointer just to show you what I'm talking about here. But let's say you're an inside big man. And mind you, this build right here is a 5'9 guard. So we're not going to make it with no shooting if we ever did that. But just to showcase what I'm talking about. 70 free throw is where it like doesn't force your mid-range rating to go up at all. If you go any higher on the mid-range, it's going to start forcing your mid-range up. So if you're an inside big man, you don't want your mid-range to get touched at all, then I do think that 70 is a very good budget. It's still very makeable. You will be able to hit with this. But if you're someone who does have that upgraded or something like that, it's really not that big a deal. I think 85 free throw is like where it's easily makeable. You don't have any struggle or any problems making them. But really, it's very cheap, I'm gonna be honest. Like, the difference between 99 free throw and literally 25 is like 1 rating, if that sometimes. It's not that big a deal. For the rate of you making your free throws, 99 is crazy. Like, you could literally shoot lates and earlies and still get 90% on them, or like 88% on them. But regardless, I think 85 is a good threshold to hit for very makeable. 70, again, very makeable, and everybody can upgrade this to this rating, even inside bigs, without forcing their mid-range up. Alright, so next up we have pass accuracy. This is going to move in 2 different thresholds if you ask me. I think you should never have anything less or more than these 2 ratings unless you really want to be an elite playmaker and have more than 85 pass accuracy. But anyway, 70 is going to be the bare minimum if you ask me. I don't think you should ever settle for like 51 or anything lower than that for the bronze bullet passer, or to have no bullet passer at all. You are going to be an absolute just traffic cone on the offense. You cannot do anything, and if you have the ball, you better not pass it, because if you have less than the 51 pass accuracy, you are tweaking if you ask me. So I haven't seen many people ever make a build like that where they have less than 70. And then I think a really good threshold as well, where it's like the very ideal is going to be 85. I think you absolutely should have 85. We're talking the most optimal rating for every attribute. It's definitely 85 for the pass accuracy. That's like undisputed if you ask me. Gold bullet passer, you get all different types of badges and stuff like that. For most builds, moving your pass accuracy up to 86 is going to give you an extra badge point and gold bailout as well. So I think 86 is definitely like another good attribute rating to hit. As you can see, once again, just extra badge point, extra bailout on a higher level. It's not that big a deal though, so I think we'll just call it 85. Alright, so for ball handle, we have a lot of different thresholds for this one right here. I'm going to quickly talk about 75, what this does for you. You're going to be able to get the Scottie Pippen, Damian Lillard behind the backs, whatever the case may be. It's the stuff that is really good for moving up the court. You get some crossover packages as well. You get a couple signature size ups and stuff like that. It's not really good though, to be honest with you. I think what you really want is to have 85, and 85 is going to give you some really good packages. But then we're going to sit here and talk about how if you go to 87, you get the gold unpluckable. So I think 87 is more so the next threshold that we're going to talk about. But just consider that 85 is where you get the animations, the good size up escape packages, the good size up combos, whatever the case may be. The list goes on and on. The best animations that you can get are unlocked at 85, and once again, gold unpluckable. Simple as that. So for the next threshold, we're going to talk about 93 ball handle. So If you want the Hall of Fame unpluckable, obviously you have to have 99. That's kind of just a given. I don't think it's really considerably worth it though. So if you move up to 94, you get Hall of Fame ankle breaker, but that's not even really that much of a valid badge in the Series game if you ask me. But after that, from 94 to 99, the only thing you gain is Hall of Fame unpluckable. So realistically, to come back to 93, now we're going to talk about this. So for going from 90 to 91, you're going to get handles for days on Hall of Fame. That's an essential, like must-have playmaking badge as a guard. 92, you get Hall of Fame quick chain. Once again, a very essential must-have badge as a guard. And then 93, you get Hall of Fame hyperdrive and an extra playmaking badge point. So overall, I think 93 is the best threshold when it comes to an elite dribbler, and I think you can absolutely do everything that you would want. The only thing you're going to struggle with, maybe some plucks here and there, but honestly, pluck steals aren't even that crazy anymore, and it is what it is, honestly. I think you can get away with 93 very manageably. Alright, so next up we got speed with ball. Now this is going to be tied to your dribble styles. To have the best dribble style in the game of the quick dribble style, all you need is to have 75 speed with ball. It might be height cap too, I forget what that situation is, but either way, 75 is what you need for that. Now, after that, I just want to sit here and talk about how 80 gives you the gold quick first step. I think it's a very good threshold to hit as well. And you know, at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. Speed with ball is tied to 3 different things: triple threat, juke, downhill, and quick first step. The only good playmaking badge in the game that speed with ball is tied to is literally quick first step. So in my opinion, I think you definitely would like to have 92. It's going to give you the Hall of Fame quick first step right there, and anything more than that is really just not worth, if you ask me. Now obviously if you're an elite point guard and you're trying to absolutely carry the team on the offensive end, the more speed with ball the better. It is what it is, obviously, right? But I do think 92 is definitely the right threshold that you want to meet for any badge counts, and you don't really need any of it to tie into like animations or anything like that. So obviously, again, if you wanted to go as high as you possibly could go with the speed with ball, it makes a lot of sense too. I 100% am vouching for you to do that if you're an outside guard or someone who's trying to carry the team on their back as far as like a playmaker aspect goes. But in terms of the badge counts, again, 92 is really the only thing that matters, and really, for that matter, I mean, you literally don't gain anything from 80 to 92. So realistically, my 2 thresholds for this, we're going to talk about 80 and then 92 as far as the playmaking goes for the speed with ball. So next up we have the defensive attributes. I'm going to skip into your defense real quick and we'll come back to it. I just wanted to make a smaller guard build like the 6'4" right here that can showcase perimeter defense and steal rating. And again, then we'll come back to the other defensive categories of like the interior D, block, rebounding, all that stuff. But anyway, perimeter defense at 85 I think is a really good threshold. I don't think you want it any lower. If you did go any lower, I guess 76 for silver clamps, but I'm not a big advocate of going that low. I think 85 is a really good threshold as far as the gold clamps. If you want to go to 86, it gives you the menace on gold and gives an extra defensive badge count. But either way, I think 85 is a really good threshold for this, but I do want to vouch for going any higher possible on perimeter defense. I feel the same way as perimeter D as I do like speed. I think just having a good perimeter defense rating is really important in this game. It's tied to your perimeter contest, it's tied to how fast you move with your LT held, it's tied to a lot of good defensive badges. Like literally, look at all this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, Hustler is very manageable. All you need is 60 for it, so it's not even that big a deal, but it does make it cheaper though, to an extent. But anyway, things like ankle braces, clamps, pick dodger. Menace isn't that great a defensive badge, but it's still something that like factors in there. And again, the higher your perimeter defense rating, the better it is. That's how I feel. So I think 85 is like the bare minimum that I would really vouch for. If you're like a big man or something like that, don't get me wrong, I understand you can't get that high of perimeter D anyway. Really though, I do want to vouch for you as a big, making your perimeter D as high as it possibly can go. I do not want to see people out here, like it'd be horrible to make a 25 perimeter D big man. That's how I feel personally, unless you're playing like rec and you're habitually going to sit in the paint, but it's very hard to do that sometimes. Some people might just have good spacing on their team and it's as simple as that. So you need to be able to be versatile as those bigs. So I recommend as bigs to make it as high as possible. If you're a guard and you want to settle for like 85, I think that's very manageable. And if you're a lock, as high as it could possibly go, literally all the way to like 99 if it's possible. For the steal rating, I literally have this written down. It's kind of funny actually. Like, so for instance, with like the 3-pointer, we did like 80, 88, 99, a couple different thresholds. For the steal rating, it's literally 90, 90, 90. Just always do 90 steal rating. It makes no sense to do anything otherwise. If you go higher on it though, I will say your rate of getting more passing lane interceptions is definitely there. You can also on ball steal better as well with the Hall of Fame pickpocket 99 steal rating. I mean, honestly, there is a case to be made for going higher, but if you're going to intentionally go lower, you are absolutely selling yourself out of the most pivotal attribute on defense you can possibly get. 90 steal rating stops you from getting stunned on your on-ball reach-ins, your passing lanes, all types of stuff like that. You have elite response time when it comes to that X button or the square for PlayStation 5. But anyway, Hall of Fame interceptor obviously also is unlocked at 90. You are absolutely selling yourself short if you have less than this and you could get 90. If you like are able to get 90 and you have like 80 for some reason, or even lower than that, you're crazy. You're tweaking. This is the best rating in the game to have, honestly, defensively as far as it goes. And again, Hall of Fame interceptor, super insane. All right, so like I said, we're going to backtrack to interior defense. Now, as far as this goes in terms of tying to badges, the only one that's really important, if you ask me, is going to be brick wall. Honestly, I don't think post-move lockdown, tireless defender, or defensive leader matter that much. And again, some of these are really so easy to have at a lower level. Like to have tireless defender, it literally only need like 57 interior defense or 58 perimeter D. If you don't have one of those, you're tweaking, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Same with like defensive leader, it's also tied to perimeter D. So the only thing that interior defense is like really important for is post-move lockdown and brick wall. And I don't think post-move lockdown is that important. So as far as the badge levels go, I want to say I think 88 and 95 are definitely the right thresholds you want to hit, as well as for like an undersized big man, I think 76 is definitely doable as well. So realistically, those are the attribute thresholds that I would say in terms of tying it to a badge. But overall, I just want to give like kind of performance grade, or you know, when 2K Labs is doing like intuitional tests, like they you know, all of this is based on statistics. For me, it's really just based on how I feel when I play with all these builds. So I have multiple. I have a 6'9" that has 76 interior defense. I have a 7-footer that has 88 for the gold brick wall. I have like multiple 7'3s that have the 95 for the Hall of Fame brick wall. But because I have all those levels, I can tell you how they all perform. Now, granted, they are based on height as well. I will say the 76 interior D is definitely doable. It's not horrible with the 6'9", but it's not great. I mean, you would pretty much, it scales, I guess, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. You would absolutely be able to understand why 88 plays better than 76, why 95 plays better than 88. The list goes on and on. Again, brick wall also helps you resist getting back down as well. So even if you are a taller big man and you want to go lower on the weight, so like you have better speed and stuff like that, your strength isn't going to be that good. So if you have the brick wall, it makes up for your lack of strength. If you ask me, you can prevent the back downs pretty well. Again, having the brick wall is very pivotal in terms of being a big man. So honestly, I think 88 is a pretty good like budget to hit. But again, if you're a 7'3" or a 7'2" or something like that, you're likely going to be able to hit 95 anyway. And it just makes sense to go to that for the brick wall anyway. All right, so for the block rating, there are a lot of pivotal badges that these are tied to. So for instance, you have Intimidator, Rim Protector, Chase Down Artist, Pogo Stick as well, kind of, but it's not that big a deal. I mean, you only need 79 block to get Hall of Fame Pogo anyway, and also it's tied to rebounding, so it's not exactly a huge deal to talk about. But anyway, at 54, you get Intimidator on bronze. There are a lot of things to talk about with this, so we're just going to talk about all of them. I understand this is going to be kind of long and winded. It's not exactly given a very like decisive thing that we'll talk about, but we have a couple of different ratings that I'll just kind of explain that are really your key thresholds. But again, I just want to talk about this. So 54 block, bronze Intimidator. 55, you get bronze Rim Protector. At like 57, you get the bronze Chase Down Artist. Now this is where things get kind of like interesting, right? So at 65, you're able to get silver Intimidator. Now at 70, you're able to get silver Chase Down Artist. And then at 75, you're able to get silver Rim Protector. So these all move in their own different increments. It's hard to really like mess them up the right way. So if you want to have all of these like pivotal defensive badges as a smaller lockdown or something like that, 75 is a very good threshold to hit. I think that's definitely what you want. But if you were absolutely at the lowest point you could possibly be for it, I think you definitely want to have all of these on bronze. I think 57 is a very good threshold to hit. To have bronze Chase Down, Rim Protector, and Intimidator is pretty legit. But if we're talking like a really good threshold to hit for a lockdown, like a pure lock or something like that, I think 75 is very, very doable. To have the silver Intimidator, silver Rim Protector, and the silver Chase Down Artist, I think that's very doable. But if you want to go to 78, then you get the gold. I mean, honestly, there's no really good perfect pivotal threshold to hit with this stuff. It's really frustrating how it kind of moves in like tough increments to judge. But what I will say is the next really good one is going to be 88. Not only do you gain a defensive badge, but you also gain Hall of Fame Chase Down Artist and Gold Rim Protector. So overall, 88, very good threshold to hit. So now let me just backtrack and pretty much talk about the three thresholds that I would definitely recommend to hit. So we already talked about 75. It's really elite in terms of being a lockdown. We have 88 that we were just talking about, where we have the Hall of Fame Chase Down Artist and the Gold Rim Protector all in one attribute rating boost, and then getting the extra badge point as well. And then if you're a tall big man, like an inside, like a real legitimately good defensive big, and you're like super tall as well, 97 block is definitely really good. At 95, you get the Hall of Fame Intimidator, and then at 97, you get the Rim Protector on Hall of Fame. Now, if you go one higher level, it makes the badge cheaper at the Gold and Hall of Fame level. So honestly, man, it's hard to put a stamp on it, but I would say 97 is the right like kind of budget to it. If you want to go 98 though, it makes sense. So now we have rebounding. Now I'm gonna be honest, at 81, it's a really cool little aspect where if you go up one rating, it's gonna give you Hall of Fame box and silver rebound chaser. So it's definitely something that is worth noting. But honestly, if you can only afford 81 like rebound rating, it's unlikely that you really have the badge points to spend into 6 of them to have Hall of Fame box on or to have like silver rebound chaser on in the first place. Generally, when you can only afford 81, you're probably like a 6'7" lock or smaller or something like that. So what I'm going to sit here and say is I think 91 is the right threshold that we're going to talk about as far as the lowest you want as a big man. Gold rebound chaser, you still have the Hall of Fame box. The rebound rating itself is very good. You can definitely get the job done with 91. And then other than that, we're going to say 99. I mean, Hall of Fame rebound chaser, it's what you need for it. You need one of these things to be on at least 99. If you want rebound chaser on the cheapest level, you can have it as well. You can see it costs 6 if you don't have them both on 99. If you move it to 99, it only costs 5. But honestly, it's kind of crazy to have to afford that, really. But either way, again, the manageable threshold that I would say is definitely to go to 91 on one of these ratings, whatever you like more between the two of them. So now we have the physicals. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, it's gonna be a little bit disappointing in terms of the video aspect of it, but to be real with you, I think your physicals should always be as high as you can possibly put them, minus maybe vertical. Vertical, you can definitely settle for like 85-ish on if you're like a lockdown or something like that. But honestly, if you're not putting your speed to the absolute most, I think you're crazy. No matter what build you're doing, you absolutely should have the highest speed that your height can allow. Because again, you got things like 6'5s that could have 93. If you make a 6'5 and you can get 93 speed, but you only upgrade it to 85, you are tripping. You're crazy. I think you're absolutely insane. Same thing goes for any other height in the game, honestly. I don't think you should ever have your speed lower than what your build can afford, to be honest with you. Now, in terms of acceleration, it's a little bit of a different story. 2K Labs has tested this, and it only deals with like having the ball in your hand, aka it's kind of the twin brother to speed with ball. So if you don't care about speed with ball, you probably don't care about acceleration either. I'll let you guys know that. Honestly, I'm not putting a stamp on any of these physicals though in terms of like giving you a certain rating that they're definitely like good for. Honestly, it just depends. Like obviously on this 6'10" that we have right here, 77 speed looks and performs well, but if you have 77 speed on a 5'9" guard, it's going to be awful. It's literally going to be horrible. So it all depends on your height. It all depends on whatever you did with your weight, wingspan, whatever the case may be. It just depends on what your build is. And again, we already talked about acceleration, but moving along to like strength, I definitely think you want to have strength upgrade on a lockdown build or a big man build. If you're making a guard, it probably doesn't matter, but honestly, it's very cheap to afford just like 40 strength on a guard anyway. So I've upgraded on a couple of the guard builds that I've done. I think it helps you get bumps on ball. It definitely resists back downs and stuff like that as well. I don't think it helps with getting contact dunks. I know some people might think that's the case, but I definitely do not think that's the case. Again, with vertical, you're getting like jump contest on jump shots where if you jump at the shooter, then you can get a better contest. It definitely helps with that. I think vertical does help with rebounding and chase down blocks as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think vertical is nice to have, as well as you need 85 to have the elite contact dunk packages. So if you're a like slasher or something like that and you have 92 driving dunk, you do also want 85 vertical as well. But again, I don't think you need to go through the roof on vert, but it's definitely nice to have. And then for stamina, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't know why you wouldn't max this out on a build. Like this right here literally costs you 1 attribute point to go from 25 to 99. You're not saving that much by just dropping this from like 99 to 93. I don't know why so many people do it, to be honest. I mean, yeah, sure, you can see like, oh, well, I mean, even at this is the best example, honestly. You go from a 25 stamina to a 91, it literally costs you nothing on your rating point. Like it doesn't even cost you a full rating point by any means at all. So honestly, I don't know why people don't just max out their stamina on their builds. In some situations, I'll maybe drop it to like 95 or something like that if it buys me just a couple extra free throw that I feel like my build needs, or I'm reaching like absolute badge caps on everything and I can't take anything off without losing one. Honestly, again, I don't know why you'd ever go lower than like 95 stamina, to be honest with you guys. But anyway, that's all for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. And like always, let's try to 1,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put your favorite rating in the game in the comments. If it's driving dunk, if it's three-pointer, if it's ball handle speed with ball, if it's steal, if it's speed, whatever the case may be. Put your favorite rating in the comments to show your support. You made it all the way through to the end of the video. But other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed, man. Take it easy. Peace.